In terms of, I mean, those are excellent points. It's my family members work in nonprofit sectors as well, and I see them have to navigate that emotional turmoil, have a different perspective on life when they go to developing countries versus living in the West or developed countries as well. And oftentimes I see that they have, life in perspective. They appreciate things that we have. They appreciate the sanctity of human life. It just gives them a different viewpoint into the way the world operates, right? Is there anything you've learned about yourself or about humanity working in the nonprofit sector versus when you worked in the business world? And the reason why I ask is, for myself, working in a business environment, in the for-profit environment, I've understood the way the world works sometimes, right? We have to make money. We have to, play the game of politics sometimes, and numbers do matter and things of that nature. But I've never actually worked in the nonprofit, so I haven't been warped to think about the world in a different way. How has your development from the for-profit to the nonprofit changed your reality or view of the world in terms of day to day, but also just in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, it's a good question. So my career has been bouncing in and out of the nonprofit space. As I mentioned before, I started my career working in healthcare analytics, working with hospitals across Australia and New Zealand to improve quality and efficiency. And I say that because, probably my first experiences were in the nonprofit, and then I moved to, strategy, consultancy, private equity, to the heart of modern capitalism. And I think it's easy in the nonprofit space to demonize companies, and I think one area where I think there are a lot of gain could be made, as we were mentioning earlier, is helping companies do their work in a more ethical and a more sustainable fashion. And in fact, I'd argue for people who have had a significant career in the private sector and are thinking about moving to the nonprofit sector, actually ask yourself, can you do more good where you are by influencing the companies you work for, rather than trying, shifting it all, losing all that skills, all that political capital, all that career capital, and moving into another sector where there are already quite a few people working. So I think having jumped across from nonprofit to for-profit, I think a greater understanding that companies aren't evil. I think having jumped back recently, I think the amount of life satisfaction you can derive from living, a life that is, I don't live a bad life. London is a phenomenal city to live in, but also know that I'm using what I've learned to make the world a little bit better. That's a fantastic combination. And I came from lunch with former colleagues and people I've worked with in the past, and there is a sense of satisfaction with the choices I've made that I think not obvious, because you do step away from the same salary and progression and status, frankly, that you can get from succeeding in the business world in the nonprofit world.